This is the Tom Barnard Podcast. Listen live weekday mornings, 8 to 9:30, or anytime you like as a podcast on the Tom Barnard app at tombernardshow.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm rocking out. That's all I was doing just then. Just, hearing the music, rocking out that whole deal. It's kind of funny because we're talking about the night. Did you get any sleep? Blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to cut, and I've cut 95% of it out. I'm trying to cut all caffeine out of my life. I just don't need it anymore. I got enough action going on in my brain. I don't need that too. But I have now delivered, of course, kind of like a tremor in my brain once in a while because it's looking for the caffeine. Mm-hmm. Oh, God. Why? That's all I have to say.
Yeah, like you get like the caffeine headache type of thing, you're saying?
Yeah, absence of caffeine headache.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, because I used to drink it all day long, and I cut back to just having 2 in the morning. Now I can't even do that. I'm going to cut back to 1, and then eventually just get rid of it all. The nice little, I suppose getting up at 3:15 in the morning for all those years, I had to have caffeine or I just wouldn't get up,
Yeah, wouldn't get up, and then I would assume it's probably hard to, because, I mean, when your day is over, when the morning show's over, but you still have to go work or do other things. You can't just go home and sleep all day. Yeah. So you're like, I need this caffeine to keep my life together.
So you're basically saying that I was very fortunate when the pricks at the Star Tribune attacked me and ruined my voiceover career. You mean I should be grateful for that because I don't have to work it hard?
Oh, no, not at all. Like I would, the Star Tribune would be a pile of ashes if they were.
What are you going to do? That's it's kind of hilarious because I bounce from channel to channel watching the news and all that stuff. And I'm sorry, but I got to tell you, it's all garbage. I don't care if it's left, right. There's no centrist. So you can, I've been asking people, you got a centrist position anywhere? And they go, yeah, this one. I tune in and say, that's not centrist in the least.
Yeah, and that's the problem with TV, I think, Tom, is you're always going to have that personal human bias and in some way, shape, or form, because people are just prone to that. The best chance is probably finding something, either a hard newspaper or a website where there's editors that contribute from both perspectives, so it gets to about as middle as it can be.
I like it. So do you have any suggestions for websites?
Yeah, my go-to is usually AP, just because they like to just do facts first and foremost. Otherwise, I know it's across the pond, but BBC usually does, just because it's an outside perspective that they don't have boots on the ground, so to speak.
Yeah, but they're commie as hell over there. Now those people are nuts. I used to.
Are they?
In fact, I'm going to England in July. I haven't been there in a few years, but Catherine and I used to go over there all the time, and very accepting, very nice. They've gotten so political in Western Europe now. It is, America has, Canada has, Mexico has. I suppose everywhere in the world's got their own take on it, but I just kind of liked it when you'd go over there in the countryside of England and wander around and not have somebody pissed off at you because you're American. It's like, what?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of places you go where they don't really like Americans.
And I would like to point out, and I do, of course, point out to them as they're standing in my face, you want me to cut the funding off? I don't have the charge of that, but I could probably reach the right people and get your funding cut off. Is that what you want? We've been supporting that area. I almost said something else. Since World War I. So don't tell me how horrible America is. You guys wouldn't have made it through had America not stepped up and helped you. You want to talk about Elon Musk, you'd be walking down the street doing a Nazi salute if it weren't for America. Yeah, pricks. I mean, it's true.
Yeah, there definitely are, when you look at kind of that World War I, World War II era, things could have went a lot differently if, America or any of the other people that were allies at the time didn't step in and help out.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't alive yet. We weren't alive yet and all the rest of it, but that must have been one hell of a scary period back, first of all, in World War I, then in World War II, and they're blowing things up, and then dropping the nuke.
Ugh.
Holy
Twice.
Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, can you even imagine?
No. Oh no! Just to be like walking down the street, like coming into the show, and then all of a sudden, boom! It's just everything's over. Or that's like I've been watching American Primeval, which is like this place back with like the Native Americans and settlers.
I love how hooked you are on this show.
And it is like I keep watching it and thinking like I couldn't even imagine living in this time period. They're just like there's random attacks by natives or the settlers, and it's just chaos, and people are just riding horses and living in tents. I'm like, I couldn't do this.
And it's funny we bring up like the atomic bombs and stuff because Topps, the card company, just recently put this out, but they are like putting into a card set I'm going to hold up my phone here, but it is a signed autograph Robert Oppenheimer.
Oh yeah, I saw that
baseball card.
I saw that. Yeah.
Like it's got an autograph that has like a piece of paper in it that has his signature on it. Mm-hmm. Who wants that? What collector out there is like Ken Griffey Jr., Ichiro Suzuki? Oh my God, Robert Oppenheimer, the guy who invented the A-bomb. Yeah, let's go.
He did indeed invented the A-bomb and changed the world forever.
He did.
There's no question about it. I would go to the countryside. I've stayed in London before, and it's very nice and all the rest of it, but it's gotten very, very political over there, I guess. I haven't been there in a few years now, or several years, actually. But I've been to Ireland. I've been to Scotland. I've been to England. I'm talking about over the last 50 years or whatever. Mm-hmm. But the people tend to be very, very... The one guy, I think I told you the story. There was a guy... There was a little park we were staying in, I believe it was in Scotland at the time, and there was a little children's park about a block away from the hotel, and you'd have to go through this gate to get in and all that stuff. So kind of, keeping the kids from running into the street, that kind of deal. Mm-hmm. So I'm walking Andy and Alex over there. They were, I think, 9 and 11 at the time, so it's been a long time, 27 years ago. Mm-hmm. And there's a guy leaning up against the fence, and he's smoking a cigarette. And he's like scowling at everybody that walks by. So then I walk by and he scowls at me and I go, "How you doing today, sir?" And he goes, "None of your effing business." I mean, you got a tough day. And I started laughing, and that really pissed him off when I laughed at him. I was like, good God, I thought you were joking. He was serious. He hates everybody because he has to be at the playground with the kids. I was like, oh, God. Okay, pal, whatever you say. Whatever works.
Yeah.
So you guys been watching anything on TV? I'm trying to find some new TV shows, and I still can't remember that name of that British series I watched. Just the first episode. But I'm telling you, I think the television's never been better, ever. Well, it couldn't have been because there's so much access to everything now, right?
Yeah. Like I've been watching American Primeval, which is very gory. So if you're not into blood and gore, probably not the show for you, but that's pretty good. There's Night Agent season 2 just came out yesterday. So I'll be watching that. That seems pretty good. But the slate, I think for February, there's quite a few shows that are coming out. Yeah. It should be really, really good.
Yeah. I discovered the show Black Sails on Netflix, which ended in like 2018. Mm-hmm. But I've been kind of just watching that now. I'm not as big of a TV show person as a lot of people are, just because it seems like every night there's some sorts of sports that I want to watch instead of a show. But I know people have been chattering about this Apple exclusive Apple TV show Severance.
Yeah.
It's got Adam Scott and some other big name players in there too. It's on like the second season, or they're heading to the third season or something like that. And I guess it's really good, compelling TV. It kind of gives you that like uneasy feeling because they just work in an office, and it's a cool premise that has really never been done before.
Excellent. It's called what?
Severance.
I'll have to. So basically, get rid of.
Here, let me look up the.
Yeah, it's got Britt Lower, Adam Scott, John Turturro.
Oh, Turturro, yeah.
Zach Cherry.
He's good. John Turturro's a hell of a good actor.
Mark leads a team of office workers whose memories have been surgically divided between their work and personal lives. When a mysterious colleague appears outside of work, it begins a journey to discover the truth about their jobs. So it's, from my understanding, they work at a place where once you leave the office,
recollection.
There's no recollection. It's like you are two separate people, one that is only at work, and then one that is you're only outside of work, spending time with your family, doing stuff that you enjoy. So,
and there's probably some shady stuff going on at work, and that's why
I'd assume so. Yeah,
that sounds like my type of show.
So it's like working with Ginny Hubbard. Is that what you're saying?
That's what you're saying.
That's what the thoughts and views expressed on this show are
Tom Barnard's only.
Ginny knows that I adore her. Like I said, I've known her for a billion years. So every time I see her, she gives me a big hug. What could I ask more than that?
Yeah, she's terrific.
She's a wonderful. God, don't tell her I said this now. That I really think the world of her, because it's just going to ruin everything.
That's all right. I'll tell her that's what I said. Yep. Instead.
I'm telling you, honest to God, and I'm very seriously, a couple of years ago when I came back and started working with the Hubbards on some things, every member of the Hubbard family from Pops on down came over and said, hello, Tom, how have you been? It's just very, very nice people. The Hubbards, and look, I got no dog in the fight here. It's, I don't work for the Hubbards. I work with them. But I just love the fact that the people in that position are actually very friendly and care how your day's going. You know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's maybe in a lot of places it's not like that, but especially if your boss is like a raging alcoholic, then it gets really bad.
I hear that's not as fun.
No, it's not. I'm here to tell you. Oh, you must have had a lot last night because you're an asshole today. You must have a screaming headache, and that's what this is all about, really. Okay, but yeah, it's. I mean, I don't like working with Amy and Dan, but other than that,
But that makes sense. I will say that to their faces.
That's the downside of the whole company. I love it. I love it whenever I get a call from Amy because she always starts the call with this. Like when Dan calls me, I talk to Dan. He says, hey, Tom, it's Dan. How you doing? And we have a nice conversation. Dan's been a great guy to me, no question about it. But every time my phone rings, I look down and it's Amy Daniels, she's had a promotion for Hubbard's. Is that what her title is?
I know she is in charge of My Talk, and she might have more duties outside of that as well.
So she's the one that ruined it?
I'm
trying to tee you guys up, and it's just not working.
I think Brittany's the one that ruined it.
Brittany ruined it. Yeah. Oh, I love Brittany. I miss working with Brittany. She's tremendous. She's a great person. But no, every time Amy Daniels calls me, she goes, Barnard! I'm like, oh, God. Oh, okay. No, she's a wonderful person. God, I hate this. I'm in a good mood telling everybody how wonderful everybody is. It's just not my image.
No, I was going to say, you've got to rebuild your brand here.
I have to.
Well, too much positivity so far today.
Too much positivity. Well, it's one of those situations where, it's where my large market career began, and it's where it's going to end, because when I do someday retire, it'll be, working with them, I'm assuming. But yeah, I've been very, very lucky with that. Most of the people I've worked with a couple of people that were backstabbing pains in the ass, but not a lot. Got to be honest with you, not a whole hell of a lot, but
that's good. It
all works out in the end. I want to run this by you guys because we got about another couple of minutes, don't we?
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to cut. What the hell's his name? He's some sports guy.
Phil.
What is it? Philippe Navidad. What is it?
Philippe Navidad.
Philippe Navidad. You know what? I do love that song, and I don't know why. Because Christmas time, they play that thing nonstop on TV commercials.
Yeah,
but I still like it anyway.
And every rendition of it, every commercial has their own twist on it.
Oh yeah. Okay, so people who don't watch TV say they do these 15 things instead. Now I have a question for you. When they're talking about TV, they're talking about now. Netflix, Prime, Hulu, that kind of thing. Yeah. Local television for the news. I don't know what they're going to do with that, and I better get this out before our buddy Chris comes on. But man, did you see all these people that were cut loose from local television stations around the country? Local news is dying. Isn't that sad?
Is that what Kristen was talking about with us?
I think so.
Yeah. Meteorologists and stuff.
Just because they're the guy that bought
Atlanta, Weather Channel, they're letting
go
of the meteorologists because it's they're syndicating almost the weather, which is
yes, that's correct.
I just don't understand that. I feel like there's always a spot for local news, like people in your community telling you what's going on, whether it's weather, sports, the lead stories, or just doing kind of the puff pieces of hey, this new bakery opened up and blah blah blah. I feel like there's always a place for that.
Yeah, you would think. So if someone doesn't watch a lot of TV, it can be challenging to make small talk with them if they don't watch any TV at all. Well, then you're really stuck talking about the weather. Someone on social media asked, people who don't watch television, how do you spend your time? The top responses were reading. Yeah, sure, okay. Well, I read every night. I watch TV every day. I don't watch a lot of it, but I watch TV, and I do read. I still love listening to the radio because my whole life has been radio, and now podcasting, of course, is the difference there. But I still listen to a lot of radio. I got a lot of friends in a lot of markets, so I try to tune in, see how they're doing. People I've worked with in the past and all that. Mm-hmm. Reading, this is probably the top response, which suggests that many people feel like they have to choose between watching TV and reading. I do not have to choose between the two. I love to do both, actually.
Well, I only know how to do one, so my choice is pretty simple.
Which is what?
Just watching. I can't read.
Well, I know you don't know how to read. I knew that.
He reads the subtitles.
You know what I should have said? Okay, say that again, and I'll say what I should have said. Okay, go ahead.
My choice is pretty simple. I only know how to do one of those.
Goddamn immigrant. Thank you very much. I did that just for Tevin. I just did that for Tevin, right?
Because the time for break. Phil's ready.
We're going through so much of that right now. It's like, would you calm down? Relax. I don't know. Do you know when your family came here from, Europe or Asia or wherever they came from?
I have no idea. Nope.
Yeah, it's not as big a deal as it used to be.
No.
Because my generation, I guess, is a lot closer to people who did come over. My families both came over, I think, in the 1880s, something like that.
And I think if you live on the East Coast, like closer to like Ellis Island, where you have more of those historical figures, you might pay a little bit closer attention just because you're more entrenched in that life, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's probably the whole. God, I don't know why this stuck in my head just now, but I love it, and I can't remember who the hell came up with the line, but it's a really great line. All the immigrants coming over on ships, and they're bouncing up and down. There's all these waves and rocky movements and all that. And they get to port, and one of the guy goes over and starts vomiting over the side of the ship. And the guy comes up and goes, "God, I didn't know you had such a weak stomach." And he said, "Weak stomach? I'm throwing up like 5-10 feet." The guy who told it did a better job of telling it than I just did. I think it's wonderful. Gaming, younger people, it's mostly online games, and among older adults, it's a lot of board games, card games, and mobile games. I am not a big gamer. I don't know why. I did play like Tiger Woods golf for a long time. Mm-hmm. But then it got to the point, it's like, well, if you buy this card, you can play. But I'm not giving you more money. Forget it.
Yeah, that's kind of been a weird trend. Like, there's definitely been in recent memory some really good like solo game, like Elden Ring I finished that a couple months ago, and that's like the best game I've ever played. There's no extra pays like that can like enhance your playing experience, but it's definitely a trend. So you're exactly right.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to read any more of the rest of this because there are 15 of them, and we got to go in a minute or so. So
I'll just come back to it.
Yeah, I can. 15 was, someone said, mostly sex. 14, police body cam videos on YouTube. Why would you want to watch that? I've seen guys taken away by the cops. It ain't pretty.
No.
Well, one time, my friend came back from Vietnam. We're walking down the street at about, I suppose it was about 5:30 in the morning, summertime, so the sun had just come up. And the cops pulled him and goes, "What are you guys doing?" And my friend, who just got back, he was a gunner, as a matter of fact, looked at the cop and said, "None of your goddamn business." That didn't go well after he said that, I will tell you. And the cops walk up to me and go, because they separated us, of course. Mm-hmm. It was right by St. Anne's School on 26th Street in North Minneapolis.
Okay.
So they took him in one alcove. They have those doors with the alcoves. You go through the alcove and then through the door. So they took him into one alcove and me in the other alcove. And he goes, "Okay, here's what we're going to do. You can either cooperate or I want you to listen to what's happening right now." So that everything was very quiet. You could hear them beating the piss out of my friend. It was like, oh my God. I said, "Well, I got to go help him." He goes, "No, you don't."
Yeah. He gets done and some officer like kicks down your door. You feel like Officer Dave and you're just like, "No, I'll tell you whatever you need to know."
All right, that's enough of that stuff. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, it's all walking, things to relax and de-stress, like knitting. You should start knitting, Tevin.
I don't think I have the patience.
I don't either.
The knitting needles would get tossed across the room in about 30 seconds.
Correct. and then you can give one to somebody else, and they could stab you.
Yeah.
It'd be just wonderful. Actually, I do have a friend that was stabbed with a knitting needle. Those bit long, very long metal ones.
Mm-hmm.
He said it really didn't hurt because they're so thin and sharp that it didn't even hurt.
Your friend is a tough guy.
Oh, well, you're probably right about that. All right, we'll take a break, be right back, and try to destroy Phil's life if we can. Should we do that?
I like it.
Yes.
I think it's a good move. Ladies and gentlemen, a message to listeners to the Tom Barnard Show. I have an announcement for you. I need just 5 of you listening to do me and yourselves a favor. I need you to take advantage of a free offer. Seriously, free. I need you to call Josh Arnold, 952-925-5608, and tell him Tom sent you. Josh will meet with you for free and give you advice on investing, handling, and making money. Matter of fact, I'm having lunch with Josh today. Looking forward to it. He'll answer any and all of your questions about retirement, your 401k, IRA, retirement savings, and it's free. What do you have to lose? I'm talking to you. You hear me? Be one of my 5 listeners to pick up your phone now and call 952-925-5608. Ask for Josh, Mr. Money Talk. He'll give you straight talk, no sugar-coated advice about your investments. He'll do it for free. So call Josh now at 952-925-5608, but you got to tell him Tom sent you, and then call me afterward and thank me for the free service. And by the way, I always try to be very honest with the audience and all the rest of it. In the next couple of years, I talked to Josh about what to do with this, that, and the other thing, and I want to invest my money with Josh, and we're going over that right now, and I'll keep you abreast of how that's going. But yeah, Josh is my guy and should be yours too. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance, no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold's do not constitute investment advice, and I am a paid endorser.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, well, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? Inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
Let's take a second to talk about my bank. That'd be North American Banking Company. You've heard me talking about them for a long time now. When they opened in 1998, they made a promise to deliver a better banking experience for their customers where you know your banker and they know you. While a lot has changed since 1998, this commitment to being a true community bank in the Twin Cities has not. So, if you're looking for a better banking experience, you got to get a hold of Bilski. I mean, why not bank with my friends at North American Banking Company? It's a good call. So go to nabankco.com, stop by any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
I was just looking at the North American Banking Company video that you run while I'm reading that commercial.
Yeah.
How come everybody in that commercial looks nicer than Bilski?
Well, it's because Bilski was holding the camera.
So they just don't have that harsh attitude? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they want people to come and utilize their services. So they're like, we got to put the nice people on camera.
This is a good call.
Yeah.
That's a very good call, no question. So I just noticed something, and I hadn't even paid attention to it, but when I got up this morning, I've been sleeping very, very well because I just, thank God for that, I finally worked that deal out. But I just realized this is like I don't know what you call it. It's like more like a coat than it is a jacket.
Yeah.
And I just realized, was that? Kind of a windbreaker. Yeah, kind of. That's right. Exactly. But I just realized I didn't put a shirt on underneath it because while I was getting dressed, the fire alarm went off in the building. For no reason. I went through it all, and apparently somebody tripped it or whatever the hell happened, but there was no fire. But I was going so fast that I forgot to put a shirt on, so I am hotter than hell.
Just sweats like a sauna suit for you.
It is a sauna suit.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So are there any sports to talk about, Phil? Because what do we got?
Well, the Wild, I didn't see this last night. I saw a lot of people complaining about the Wild last night here.
Right.
So maybe AJ can touch on that. But the Timberwolves, they won a game this week. So, let's plan the parade. Congratulations to the Timberwolves. 4-0 last night. Utah Hockey Club, which is hilarious because they haven't named their team yet, and they're coming into the XL Energy Center and winning 4-0. And then they'll name their team next year and make a bunch more money off merchandise. The Utah Hockey Club, anonymously coming in and beating the Wild last night.
The Utah Hockey Club. You start a team and don't have a name for it.
But it's kind of genius because they get 12 months or even, I think they started selling merch like a year ago, 2 years ago. So they get call it 2 years of selling merchandise for the Utah Hockey Club because everyone's all excited. And then when they officially name their team, I think the speculation is the Yeti, the Utah Yeti, with a big Yeti logo, and then they can sell more merchandise. So it's a great cash grab.
Yeah, and then 20 years from now, there'll be some old man I was there the inaugural season with his Utah Hockey Club shirt that's now worth thousands of dollars.
And their submission for the actual Utah Yetis namesake was declined by some office, so it sounds like they're going to work because of confusion or something with other brands that use the same mascot,
like the cups.
Yes,
the Yeti cups is
exactly
what they're going with.
So they're going to come back, it sounds like, with some more elaborate case of here's why it's going to work out and everything like that. But it sounds like Utah Yetis, and I mean they play a brand of hockey that is just kind of like what the Wild were when they first were a team, where it's not flashy. It's not, they kind of suffocate you in the most boring way possible. They really drive you out wide, low percentage chances. And usually there's not a lot of shots in their games. They lead the league for the least amount of offense. If they win 1-0, 2-1, they're thrilled. They just kind of kill you by.
They're like the San Antonio Spurs.
Yes. Sure.
These are the Spurs, by the way. They took Wemby to France, and he's throwing balls off the backboard against the Pacers. Tom, let me ask you this about hockey names. I have a question for you about hockey names.
All right.
You know, it's that was Lou Nanny. Was Lou Nanny just calling you right there?
No, that was actually, and I won't say which bank it is, but I've been dealing with a bank that is a massive pain in the ass. They won't call you back. It looks like you got my money in your. It's not Bilski. They'll give me very clear.
Never Bilski. He's always going to be.
Yeah. Always going to be right there for me. But seriously, it's what do you do? It's I don't understand. I got some money in your bank that's been in there for 30 years, and you don't care enough to answer my phone calls?
Yeah. I'm telling you, similar eerie experience for me. I won't say the name of the bank, but a big national bank. And in my case, I just need to get a hold of a human to fix a problem. And it's
correct.
I can't. I just want to get a hold of a person, for God's sakes. Anyways.
No, that's exactly what I'm going through right now is to try to go, oh, really? Okay. Then I find out they put the one wrong number in my Social Security sequence, and somehow that's my fault. Yeah. It's what do you do? What? Yeah, seriously, what a pain in the ass.
Fire everybody.
Oh, I will be pulling every nickel out of there. I can guarantee you that.
You should just leave a nickel. Just
maybe one, just one nickel. That'd be good.
So here's my question for you: how do you feel about non-plural team names? You know how in most sports, it's the Vikings, it's the Twins.
Yep.
Hockey has an epidemic of if the Yeti get through, we've got the Lightning, we've got the Yeti, we've got the Avalanche, we've got the Wild, we've got the Kraken. Where are you on team names ending with an S versus not?
Not a fan.
The Wild.
I like Twins because with an S at the end, it sounds like you might be a part of the team. You know what I mean? I'm a Twins fan.
Yeah.
I'm a Twin fan? That sounds terrible.
I'm a Wild fan versus I'm a North Stars fan.
I blame that on Lou Nannies. That's who I blame that on.
I agree.
See, I have a bigger gripe about environmental team names. The Lightning, the Hurricanes, the Wild. What are you going to, I'm a tree. I'm a member of the Wild. No, it's No, I want to be a shark. I want to be a king. I want to be a panther. Like,
it's an inanimate object, you know?
Exactly.
I mean, but like a star is an inanimate object.
Yeah.
The Jets
yeah,
is
like
an
a
inanimate
plane.
object.
I don't know. They had a movie about them.
You know, it's
You
just
just
not
gave me
intimidating. It's the wild.
You just gave me one of the greatest memories I've had in days and days. I cannot remember what movie it was in. I have no idea. It was about some team on the Mississippi River in Missouri or where the hell ever it was. I don't even know where it was. I'm going to have to look it up because I laughed for about 3 days because they were looking for a team name for their sports team, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the guy goes, I got a perfect name for it, man. People will never forget it. He wanted to name the team Cirrhosis of the River.
That's non-plural. That's
It's
non-plural.
non-plural. That's exactly. How did they naming your team? Cirrhosis is a liver disease, disease that you die from because you drink too much. That's what cirrhosis is. So Cirrhosis of the River.
I'm trying to think if that is the team. What are the giveaways? You know, you got the giveaway nights.
Booze, obviously.
Flasks. Yeah.
Flasks and booze. I can't remember. I wonder who wrote that. That was a great call.
Yeah, it's also hard to chant that. You know, like I'll give credit to the Wild. Let's go wild. Well, actually, let's go wild. We're splitting a 1-syllable word into 2 for the chant. Let's go cirrhosis of the. It's yeah.
Give me a C.
It's a tough chant.
Yeah, I'm trying to Google the cirrhosis of the river to see the show.
I would have lost that bet. That spelling bee would have started with me saying S wrong.
I just love it all. I really do. Cirrhosis of the River. I got to find out who wrote that joke because that's a great joke. In any case, so you got your Minnesota Twins. I see game 1 is March 27th, something like that.
Yeah, I should look this up, but they're starting on the road in a warm weather location, right? We wouldn't dare start the season at Target Field on March 27th, would we?
Yes, we would.
Oh my gosh. It's so dumb. Go play play Los Angeles, Miami. Go play. I think they tried to send the Dodgers to Target Field. Was it last year or the year before? Like the second week in April.
Right.
Go play 2 weeks in Florida.
Yep.
Go play. It doesn't make sense. Go play Houston.
Well, it's not a home game, but we are in St. Louis, so a much warmer climate compared to Minnesota that time of year.
Oh, cirrhosis of the river down there.
Cirrhosis of the river, baby. That's all I have to say.
You want to hear something stupider than that in terms of home field advantage? The Minnesota United Loons are kicking off their season in week 2 at home, March 1st.
March 1st in Minnesota, in St. Paul.
In St. Paul. You ready for some soccer action on the coldest field imaginable?
That's insane.
Didn't they play like an international game like 2 years ago that was like the coldest game in the history of soccer?
That was the U.S. men's team.
Yes, but they played it was a February game at Allianz Field, and the opposing team was from like Central America, and like 5 of the opposing team had to literally be brought to HCMC with severe frostbite.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm not going. Not going to happen.
I want to see Tom out there with a big Loons scarf, sitting out there with the Dark Clouds fans, chanting for 2 hours. Yeah. Let's make this happen.
Exactly. There's no question. The one thing about that I really do love about going to Twins games or whatever, it doesn't matter the sport, I love the guys, and I don't know if they can do it as much as they used to. The guys, delivering the beer, they got the popcorn, they got the stuff that they would say to try to talk to you into buying a beer or popcorn. I just loved it, especially at the old Met Stadium. Oh my God, was that wonderful.
Yeah, you could get away with more. Could get away with more.
Oh yeah. No question about it. But that's, for me, that's a big part of sports, is being in the crowd. After being a season ticket holder for so many years, you knew a lot of people around you because they were season ticket holders too. And it was just a kind of a community deal. I loved that. It was wonderful.
Yeah, and now it's not quite the same when you open up the the MLB app and order food to your seats using the app. No human contact. Exactly. Little different than Wally the beer man stumbling down the steps and maybe checking an ID, maybe not.
But before we move on, I will say that while I did love the Met Stadium for my Minnesota Twins, it was a horrible football stadium. Really?
Yeah, it didn't, because it was like open on one end, right?
Yes, right.
Yeah.
No question about it. But luckily, Steve Hatley and I were in the third deck behind home plate, so we saw the whole damn field, man. To watch a game from up there was very cool.
Yeah, that's where I sat second deck for the Eric Milton no-hitter at Metrodome, September of 1999.
Love it.
And we sat, just loved, right, upper deck, just sit a few rows up, get to see the whole field, get to see one of the great moments in Twins history.
No question about it, ladies and gentlemen. And then, of course, my friend Steve was given Elvis Presley's motorcycle as a gift. Lasted about, I think, 2 months till he was hit by a car and killed. Isn't that great?
Did the motorcycle get totaled too, or
I think so. Yeah, I think it did. Yeah, Elvis's motorcycle.
It's a shame.
What are you gonna do, Steve? We miss you, man. Steve Hatley worked at 1500 KSTP. That's where I met him. Chuck Knapp, Steve Hatley, Joe Hager, the legendary radio people.
Man.
They didn't behave though, so not a lot of them around. Chuck's still around. He's living in Alabama now, I think.
Okay.
Chuck, but Charlie Bush is not, unfortunately. Anyway, back to happiness.
Anyways.
Back to happiness is all we have to say. But I just, I am that big a Twins fan that I'm sitting around in January looking, when's the season start?
Yeah, well, spring training, it's funny how fast it sneaks up, man. I think in 2 weeks, pitchers and catchers start trickling in. The Twins have not spent any meaningful dollars on free agents, but they still have a lot of good young talent. We'll see. The ownership situation is the biggest headline.
Right.
When that's going to transfer over from the Pohlads to maybe Justin Ishbia.
Apparently, they're trying to put the hustle on that. I saw an article, a national article about that. They're trying to push that along so it gets done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I think they'd like it done before opening day. So
yeah, I think that's right.
2 or 3 months.
But yeah, I mean, it's since I was a little boy, man, my Minnesota Twins and Minnesota Vikings, and I could throw in the Lakers too, but they moved to Los Angeles.
Those bastards taking our championships and claiming them as their own.
You're damn right. George Mikan was their player. No, he wasn't.
He was ours.
He was our player all the way. Mm. I stood next to George Mikan one time and actually peed myself a little. He's a big fella, man. You ever met him back in the day?
I never met him, but it's because what's funny is like he was a giant in the NBA back, 75 years ago. And he'd be like a small forward size-wise now.
Yes.
Because he's like 6'9" or whatever, 6'8".
Yeah, I think that's right, 6'8", 6'9", something like that. But the one thing about him, and I got to try to do the impression here, but you shake hands with George Mikan, and he would go, right, swallow up your whole arm, for Christ's sake.
Just grabs your entire torso.
But,
nice to meet you.
We got to win. I mean, the Twins won a couple of World Series. The Wild have never won. The North Stars never won a title. We got to do something about all that stuff. To go that long without a title, it's not forgivable.
If the Buffalo Bills win this weekend, and then if they win the Super Bowl, the Vikings will officially be the most Super Bowl losses without a Super Bowl win.
Yep.
And I'm kind of rooting for that. I want to stand. I want to stand alone at the top of that mountain of futility. That's what I want.
All right, you pill. It's always great talking to you. Any closing words?
Go Bills, and you know what? Go Commanders. Let's get a repeat of the Metrodome Super Bowl from 1992. Yes. Washington and Buffalo.
You guys in the studio, I want you to cut in a little deal and then put it on the air. We'll say, "Go Bills," and take Judd with you.
I'm going to cut it to Go Bills Ski.
Go Bills
Go Bills Ski. That's right. North American Banking Company sponsoring this prediction. Yes.
Yeah, damn right. Phil, another great report, pal. Thank you, sir.
See you guys on Monday.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom for Livia, but it's exciting news. That's the big part. I want to introduce you to the new Livia. Livia's taking weight loss to the next level. The same trusted team of registered dietitians, nutritionists, registered nurses you know and love now offers even more tools for success, including the latest in GLP-1 medications for qualifying patients. At Livia Weight Control Centers, they do weight loss differently because everyone's needs are unique. You know that. Their you-centric approach means a personalized, comprehensive nutrition and lifestyle plan created just for you. And I got to repeat what I said yesterday. I know for a couple of days there, because I don't know where my brain was, but I kept saying I lost 80 pounds. Well, that's from my top weight. I lost about 40, 45, 50 pounds, somewhere in there. My first go around with Livia, and now I'm going back and I want to get down to about 215, which means I will have lost 100 pounds in a couple of years like that. So that is the deal. Join today. Get 25% off Livia's award-winning program. Trust the local experts who've been helping clients lose weight and keep it off for over 15 years. With 9 convenient Livia centers, there's never been a better time to start. Visit Livia.com or call 855-GO-LIVIA to schedule your free consultation. Don't wait. Let's make this your year to succeed. Livia, we do weight loss differently.
When you need someone to listen, a lawyer you know and trust.
If you've never been in an auto accident, it's hard to know what to expect from the insurance adjuster. Here are some tips. 1, if they talk to you about whether or not you should hire a lawyer, it's a good sign that you probably should. 2, it's illegal for them to give you any legal advice. They aren't lawyers and they aren't licensed to practice law. 3, if they tell you that everyone involved in the accident is at fault, they're wrong. This comes from the belief that you're at fault for just being on the road. That's nonsense and not supported by any law. Finally, remember that friendly adjusters are often just gaining information. They want you to do most of the talking so they can file their report. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. I hope you're never injured in a collision. But if you are, don't sign anything until you talk to us.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw & Bryant.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you that they're making it through. Mike Lindell and his employees want to thank you for your continued support by extending their wholesale prices on classic MyPillows. Get standard classic MyPillows now for only $14.98. Can't believe I'm even saying that. Only $14.98, but it gets even better. Upgrade to a queen size MyPillow for just $18.98. King size only $1 more. Get My Body Pillows for $29.98, and multi-use MyPillows, they're only $9.98. So go to MyPillow.com, use promo code TOM, or call 800-516-5146. Use promo code TOM to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now only $14.98. Queens $18.98, and Kings only $1 more. Not only that, orders $75 or more will ship absolutely free.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
You know, I've said it a number of times, and I'll just say it again. When I sit down in my chair, no matter where I am in the United States, I can turn on Channel 5 Eyewitness News and see Chris Egert slaughter the report.
Isn't the World Wide Web an amazing thing?
It is wonderful. I mean, that part of it I absolutely love, the fact that no matter where I am, and it's not only the United States, it's worldwide, obviously, right?
I don't know if you know this, but much like Pitbull, some of my coworkers around here call me Mr. Worldwide.
Oh, do they? You're not that heavy, actually.
You think he's heavy? Because I can't tell.
That's not what I meant.
Bob's Worldwide. Yeah.
I got
it.
Good
God. Nice. What did you drink late last night?
It's been a long week.
Glug, glug, glug.
No.
What's happening, Pally?
Nothing. What's up with you?
Channel 5's Chris Egert News brought to you by Mr. Money Talk Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation, 952-925-5608. There, I just got you paid. What do you think of that?
Sweet. What do you boys think about sports wagering?
Never have. Never been a
legalized.
sports bettor.
Let's go.
I think it should be legalized, but it's also getting shoved down everybody's throats a little bit too much in terms of watching sports every day.
I would agree. It has become it used to be kind of that like secret thing in the background, I didn't realize it back in the day, but when Jimmy the Greek was talking about what he was talking about, and what was the name of the early football show? Was it the NFL Today, the first daily football show? Mm-hmm. I didn't really realize it because I was probably too young at the time, but that whole show was coded about gambling. Like you wouldn't know it blatantly if you weren't a gambler, but they would take live looks at the stadiums and show the weather conditions and all this kind of stuff. And I saw a documentary about this or some story about it. It was all about the gambling thing. So at least it wasn't in your face, to your point, AJ, which I think today it's definitely, it's everywhere. You can't get away from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And ESPN devised they have like their ESPN bet now, where they make their own lines, but then they have people that go on the show to like influence your bet on how you should gamble. And so there seems to be a lot of maybe conflict of interest going on these days.
Well, I bring it up because the state legislature in Minnesota, Tom, is again considering legalizing it in the state, because right now you can't. I mean, you can do it through the sites and whatnot, but that has not. It's failed. I don't even know how many years. They say it's generated around $80 million, but Minnesota has been reluctant to move forward with that. So there's a proposal at the old state legislature to see what happens with that.
Is it weird that I'm not much of a gambler? I've gambled before, but I don't find any joy in it. Maybe it's because I'm no good at it.
I don't really gamble either. First of all, I guess for me the money's too hard to come by, and I don't feel like I have the extra to squander on that. But
I understand.
I don't know. There are people who are into it, and it clearly has a lot of influence in the games that we watch. That's for sure. So.
Should I ask and see if Tevin knows the greatest quote of Jimmy the Greek? I think it actually got him fired, to tell you the truth.
God, he said some. I think I know what you're going to say. I don't even think you should probably say it.
Why not, you big baby?
Should I have the dump button ready?
I was going to say.
You know what he actually did say on national television? True story. What are you going to you want to hang up and then I'll tell it after you leave, you big baby?
No, go ahead.
Sugar tit on the way. He actually said, and I quote, "Black people can't swim because they have no buoyancy." It's like, what?
Yeah. I'm scrolling through his Wikipedia. He said some stuff.
There was. I think there was more than that too, as I recall.
There was.
But, yeah.
Well, I try to keep it clean for you.
Yeah. No. Maybe that special was on before the Super Bowl last year, but there was a kind of like a documentary about the early days of the NFL and the TV broadcast, and I guess I was fascinated to learn that it was all sort of subliminally talking. Well, not subliminally. For people who knew, they were talking about betting. Right. You didn't know. You know, you're oblivious to it. But
I want you to do me a favor today. Because
yes, sir.
No matter where I am in New York or Florida or Minnesota or wherever I am, it makes my day to get up early and watch you and Hannah on television. That's all I'm saying.
I will tell Hannah that. She's in the middle of a conversation right now, so I will not go interrupt her. But
interrupt her. Who's it with? Like,
I'm not
Mr.
sure.
Hubbard?
I can't see because they're over there, and I don't want to. It's also rude that I have to sit right in her office and do this every day.
Hannah.
I told her in a conversation. So yeah.
I knew I could get through to her.
She has a hit to do right now too.
There she is. I watch you every day, Hannah. Every day I watch you.
And on that, I guess I got to roll out too. I think I got on a little late today. Sorry,
baby.
Have a good weekend.
Do you have any buoyancy?
Answer some code words into the newscast. I see that's the trendy thing for
some gambling. Let me put some gambling code into the.
Not even gambling. Just like
there you go.
Just pick like your favorite song and like work the lyrics into your.
Oh, we do that all the time.
I think it's a good call. All right, Pally, thank you for your time, sir.
We do. Okay, bye, guys.
Channel 5's Chris Egert, brought to you by Mr. Money Talk. Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. But I am very serious about that. I do love the fact, no matter which part of the country I'm in, you can just watch 5 Eyewitness News, which I've been doing since I was about 18 years old. And it does bring back home to you, which is a very, very nice thing.
Yeah, they run a really good ship down there at the Channel 5 news station. And even if you're on the road, it's nice to have that kind of like that inside look back to the Twin Cities area.
Yeah, so. Especially if you're like traveling, like Tom, obviously moving down to Florida, where like Florida is also local news for you as well. But let's say if you're driving and you're stopping in, the middle of Iowa, you never know the quality of the local news that you're going to be stuck watching. Well, and so it's nice to see a good product here in Minneapolis.
I have to tell you, you stack Minneapolis news up against Florida. Florida news sucks. Oh God, it's terrible.
I feel like Florida has more like out there crazy type stories. Where like, there's no way that this person got arrested for doing that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just I don't think people do understand how wonderful the radio news, the television news, the broadcasting, and all that. Minneapolis, St. Paul does a really good job with that. A lot of markets don't have. New York City, when I lived in New York City, I tried to watch the local news here. It was terrible. Let me just tell you this story. Everybody's talking like this, and we're going to go to the weather in a couple of minutes. But first, I got to tell you, 15 people were shot to death at the park last night. I think, why are you smiling about that? It's just, I don't know. Maybe New York news is better now. I haven't watched it in a while, but it was terrible back in the early 80s. I mean, pukey, very, very pukey. Hey, how you doing this morning?
Yep, they're all trying to try out for the Today Show or whatever is getting filmed. They get stuck doing the local news instead. Yeah.
I just noticed something. You guys dropped the ball already.
Uh-oh.
It's Happy National Compliment Day. Let's go. Let's hear it. Come on.
No, that's why we started off the show with so much positivity.
Yeah. Okay, that's why. Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
We shall take a break. Some Italian guys with us after this, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to give them compliments.
Okay. We'll compliment an Italian right after this.
Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser.
This is Brett Paul from Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley. We have always had a professional sales staff on our show floors, but recently have added a few more to the arsenal. Neil Hadding was a salesperson at Valley for over 2 decades, probably the best truck guy around. He left for a management position elsewhere, but decided to kick back and return to work with thousands of his old friends and customers. It's a similar story with Tim Condon. He spent many years in the sales and finance at Valley before spending time in Alaska, to the relief of many, many friends and customers who returned a few years back. Not a returnee, but a welcome addition to our seasoned staff is Charlie Fink. Charlie followed Neil to Apple Valley to head up the finance department. He is well known to many Twin City car customers after being in the business for over 3 decades. If you're looking for a familiar face or just the face of experience, visit one of these professionals at Jim Paul's Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley or Hastings, or at valleycardealers.com.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Bob Sansevere now joins us. I've been waiting for you all morning, Bob, because of a story I read when I first got up this morning.
What was that?
You ready?
I am.
There's a new cereal out now. Do you know the flavor of this new cereal? Breakfast cereal I'm talking about.
Bacon, cheese.
Pizza-flavored cereal.
I'm in heaven.
Nope.
But pouring milk on pizza flavor?
No.
Have you ever tried it?
No, I never have.
Cheese is like milk.
Well, I
right?
suppose.
I mean, come on.
It's not liquid, Bob.
It doesn't matter. Well, actually, the way I make it, it liquefies. Nothing like a bowl of cheese. You know, as a matter of fact, I liquefied some cheese last night. My wife made that turkey. Was it some sort of turkey chili? And I threw a bunch of cheese in, and that gets all wet and, liquefied, and it's delicious.
It is delicious.
I might add.
Right. So. You're right about that. Pizza-flavored cereal is now a thing. This will either be amazing or the worst idea ever. Cinnamon Toast Crunch teamed up with Totino's Pizza Rolls for a new pizza-flavored cereal. If you think pizza in milk sounds okay, you're not alone. But here's what you might lose. It's also still coated in their Cinnadust. So pizza with cinnamon and sugar. No.
Now we're crossing a line that I didn't cross.
Yeah. I understand. That doesn't sound good, Bob.
It should be Wheaties Pizza. That's a breakfast of champions.
There you go.
There is nothing like, pizza the next day you heat up a little bit or eat cold.
By the way, you cannot buy it. You have to win a box by going to Cinnamon Toast Crunch online next Tuesday. They are not selling it in stores because it's probably disgusting. That's what it said.
Nobody's going to buy it.
No. You know what? I'll just pop into Haggis and be happy.
Haggis.
Have you ever heard their cauliflower? They've got something called margarita.
No.
Their cauliflower crust, because I try to watch carbs. Cauliflower's low on. It's phenomenal.
Really?
And you can't get that down there, I'm sure. That's more of a regional pizza, right?
I guess, yeah.
With a cauliflower crust, they got to sell it. Or I guess maybe not Haggis, because I think that's more of a Minnesota thing. But
yeah,
I'm sure there's other brands that do that, though.
Do the cauliflower?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, smart. See, I think it's a great idea. But I'll be popping a few of those in come Sunday for the big games. You watching any of you? You excited? You cannot wait?
Wait a minute. Jude's knocking on the door again. Shock of the century. But anyway, so what big game is coming up Sunday?
The games. We got the AFC and NFC championship games.
Chiefs
against the Bills.
Is there a Viking team in that?
Yeah, I think they're playing. I believe they are.
I think they're playing on the beach down in Cancun, right, Bob?
Put a little flag.
Right. Their coach got the new deal. It's a pretty good deal. You get a new contract after getting your butt whipped in back-to-back games. But you know what? And I do absolutely believe he is a good overall coach. But I really think for him to go to the next level, he has to have somebody else call the plays because he was not engaged in that game, and he didn't. In that wild card game, come on, you're losing by a lot, and you're just lollygagging, and you're not having any sense of urgency. And I think he gets caught up in the play calling, and he's not doing his team or himself a good service. And I've told you this maybe the other day. In the 70s, probably the most innovative offensive coordinator in football was Jerry Burns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What Bill Walsh called the West Coast offense is what the Vikings ran in the 70s. Mm-hmm. Jerry Burns becomes head coach. He never called the plays. He had an offensive coordinator. Bob Schnelker among them.
It's not Bob Schnelker's fault.
So, if Burnsy, who at that point was, in his early 60s, if he felt he should have somebody call the plays for him, it tells you that it's better to have somebody else call them for you and keep you in the game, or have a coach at your side saying, "Hey, coach, maybe we should pick up the pace. We are trailing here." Have a little sense of urgency.
Yeah, good call.
And I don't know the guy. Seems like a decent guy, although I'm not crazy how they retired a friend of yours and mine, Tom, the PR guy there, who was terrific.
Wait a minute, who?
The time for two more guy?
No, Bob Hagan.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a terrific guy, and they. Right. I don't know that it was. I haven't talked to Bob about it at length, and I don't want to put him in a difficult situation. But I don't think he was doing a phenomenal job. One of the best PR guys, if not the best in the league, and I think he was. I think he was suggested retirement would be a good idea, and he wasn't that old. Because here's a problem with these coaches when they come in, and these GM. They think that they want to get their guy in there because they think Bob Hagan worked with every coach since Denny Green. He never, he didn't show favorites. He just was a good PR guy who, whether you're Denny Green or Brad Childress or Mike Zimmer or Mike Tice or Leslie Frazier, he was going to be the best PR person he could be for you. And he got along great with all of them. And that's some pretty vast personalities, from one end of the spectrum to the other.
Bob, I got to tell you, though, you and I went through that thing just a short time ago, and I wasn't there, thank God, because I would have had to start laughing so hard I would puke. But they brought a new program director in at one of the stations I used to work at. New program director. Yeah. And another friend of mine, can't say who it was because I don't want to reveal, you know him, sits down and he goes, "Why don't we play like more classic rock? Classic rock is good."
On a classic rock station.
Yes, on a classic rock station. And the PD said, "Well, like who?" And my friend said, "Well, like Molly Hatchet." And the guy said, "I don't know her." You're the program director at a classic rock station and you don't know who Molly Hatchet is? That's a problem. Don't you think?
I actually thought you were going to go with, he was going to do the who's on first thing. Like who? Well, who?
Like who? Well, the Who. That's who. Oh, God. How do you take a job you have no idea who the hell the people even are?
Is that the guy? Is he still the one in control there as the PD?
Yes.
See, I have no idea who it is, so it doesn't matter.
I can't remember. It was his first or last name that was asshole. I can't remember.
You never worked for him, or you did?
I did for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
It's an imbecile.
He's an imbecile.
Well, he is. What's he going to do?
Nothing.
What do you do? Exactly. Anyway, getting back on track.
All right. Anyway, I was going to say he has a new boss too, so he may not be there long. You never know.
No, that's a possibility, I guess. But in any case, how no matter if you're involved in the program department or whatever, pretty much everybody knows who Molly Hatchet is, don't they? And no.
Well, yeah, but I don't. I mean, I could not identify. I don't know a lot of the music.
It doesn't matter, but you've heard the name.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. Anyway, what else you got, Sandy?
Well, I mean, to me, you know what? You got your Timberwolves, you got your Wild, ass kicked, but I just football. It's still football season. That's all people care about. Certainly, it's all I care about. I don't really. I don't care about the Timberwolves. They make ridiculous money, and a lot of them are still children and behave that way. So I don't care.
Yeah,
it's not something. I mean, it doesn't. We'll wait until they're in their final few weeks and they, make their playoff push. Then we'll get excited about them. And I think it's great that Ben Johnson got the job as the Bears coach because now he doesn't have to coach a Gopher basketball team anymore.
Hey, that's true. 2 wins in a row for the Big Ten.
Yeah. Oh well, and they're on their way to the title, the national championship game.
Hey, speaking of which, Bob, you were right on the money with
really bad.
That's
got to go.
Yeah, Tim, your mic is
breaking up. We don't want 5 people on the show at one time anyway. It's too many. Sorry. He comes on in a couple of minutes.
Well, he's a movie guy. He's not a sports guy.
Well, like I said, 5. I've learned in the last couple of months having 5 people on the same time is a terrible idea. You can't get a word in edgewise.
Well, that happened.
And I'm not blaming Tim. Don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming Tim. It's anybody. 5 people's too many.
Well, you had nothing. We were talking and you didn't say anything because there were too many.
I couldn't for 16 minutes. Anyway, moving forward with positivity.
Moving forward with that. Now, I only have to ask you because I'm curious. Your Tom, yours and the lads, the first week under a new regime or administration. What do you think? It's been one hell of a week.
What are we talking about here?
Well, the new president and the regime that he has.
I haven't paid any attention to that at all. I don't pay attention to politics at that level.
Let me ask this then. I'm going to switch over to another big story in America is snow in the French Quarter and in Florida. How cold is it where you are? You didn't get any snow at all where you are, right?
Oh God, no. But it feels right now. It feels like it's 40 degrees out because it's for like 48, something like that. And I went for a walk. It is 40 here is like 30 below in Minnesota. I will tell you that.
Tom, did you see you were on social media, right? Did you see? It was a photo of a guy. I think it's ingenious and I might try it. In Florida, this is a guy who I guess he was Pensacola, wherever the snow hit. He has a John Deere tractor, a lawnmower. But you don't have snow blowers in Florida or plows. No. He found like the big boxes that a TV comes in, the flat screens.
Yep.
He found a way to strap it to the front of his John Deere and was plowing. I think that's brilliant. It'll save me a lot of money when the snow flies.
I like it.
My son got a big screen TV. I'm going to tell him, see if he still has the box. It's a great idea.
Yeah, they were using brooms to get the snow off of the streets in New Orleans because they don't have snow stuff. They don't have shovels.
And they were trying to make snowballs in the French Quarter, and they don't know how to make a snowball.
Oh, there you go.
But I just think it's global warming. Watch out. Although, maybe it's the ice age is coming next week for everywhere here.
Maybe when people say things like that, they make money doing it. Do you ever think of that?
Al Gore said 15 years ago that in 5 years we would have the ice age come back.
That's correct.
It would be horrible.
Yeah.
Boy, was he? Well, you know what? The guy did invent the internet, so he does know things.
That's right. He invented the internet. I forgot about that. All right, Sandy. We'll have a magnificent weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
I live for that. We'll know who's going to the Super Bowl. I'd like to see the Chiefs and the Commanders. Or as somebody said, Commandos. I like Commandos better than Commanders.
I do too, to tell you the truth.
That's what they should have done. All right, you got Lammers coming up. We'll chat later. Thank you.
All right, thanks, pal. Bob Sansevere, ladies and gentlemen. Bob Sansevere, brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant Personal Injury Lawyers, seeking justice for the injured. Contact Bradshaw and Bryant at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. Timmy Lammers with us right after this.
Yeah, I'll have to call him quick, make sure we can get him back.
Boy, that signal was terrible.
Yeah. So we'll take a break. Hopefully I can get him back on the line here.
Well, if we can, we can. Sounds good. Thanks. This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you. They're making it through. Mike Lindell and his employees want to thank you for your continued support by extending their wholesale prices on classic MyPillows. Get standard classic MyPillows now for only $14.98. Yes, I said $14.98. I cannot believe I'm even saying that. Only $14.98, but it gets even better. Upgrade to a queen size MyPillow for just $18.98. King size only $1 more. Get My Body Pillows for $29.98 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.98. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code TOM or call 800-516-5146. Use promo code TOM to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98. Now is only $14.98. Queens at $18.98 and Kings only $1 more. Not only that, orders $75 or more, ship absolutely free. MyPillow, baby. That's all I got to say. It's time for Bradshaw and Bryant, and this time of year, something that we might not think about, slipping and falling on ice when you're out, or worse, someone slipping and falling on your property. Property owners are legally responsible for maintaining a safe environment for visitors. You can post a caution sign or de-ice the area. Failing to do either and somebody getting injured because of your lack of safety precaution can be considered negligent. If someone does slip and fall and suffers an injury, they have a certain amount of time to file a claim, or you lose your right to collect any damages for your injury. If this happens to you, contact an experienced attorney right away. It's free to meet to go over your case. Contact Mike Bryant of Bradshaw and Bryant at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. I hope this never happens to you, but if it does, Mike Bryant is the one I recommend to all my friends and listeners.
Find Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Sometimes the anxiety for wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? My guy, Josh Arnold, Mr. Money Talk, can sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk. Never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608. Set up your free 48-minute no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments must involve risk. You know that. All comments and opinions of Josh Arnold do not constitute investment advice. I am a paid endorser.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Lammers brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury lawyers seeking justice for the injured. Contact Bradshaw and Bryant at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. How'd it work out, AJ?
He should be live on the phone.
Yeah,
here.
I'm on the newfangled telephone.
This has gone really smoothly, I'll tell you. It's really been great.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, when I was brought in, it's like, okay, it seems like it's skipping. What the hell? And then I tried talking, and that was it. Speaking of Molly Hatchet, we're flirting with disaster.
Oh, see? I like it.
I'm a classic rock guy. Classic rock guy, man. Hey, man. I tell you what, Tom, and I know you know him, but I've been listening a lot to Shotgun Tom Kelly on Sirius XM.
Oh, God, yes. Shotgun Kelly.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. You know, the guy I liked him just as much was Machine Gun Kelly. Remember him?
Well, I'm aware of the rap star Machine Gun Kelly and the gangster Machine Gun Kelly, but is there another DJ named Machine Gun Kelly?
He was the afternoon guy at 1500 KSTP when I started with the place.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 1972, I think it was, something like that.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, yeah, dating myself here, but I've never been ashamed of saying I'm old. But yeah, I used to listen to KDWB on the AM radio.
Sure, 63.
6:30?
6:30, that's exactly right.
Right.
I'm going to do his intro, but I got to lean back, and I won't do it as loud as he did it. But Machine Gun Kelly started every show at 1500 KSTP, afternoon drive, 3 to 6. Anyone out to L.A. and worked at KHJ, very successful guy, really nice guy, by the way. Never met him in person, but I've talked to him over the phone, stuff like that. But he would start a show, and he would go, Machine Gun, and he would hold it like, gun for about a minute, and he'd go, Machine Gun and Kelly.
You know, what's really interesting about, satellite radio, obviously you don't hear the talent as much. But then again, you get commercials. But, guys like Machine Gun Kelly are allowed to do their thing because they know what they're doing.
Yep.
So it's interesting. It's interesting listening. And obviously, I mean, I love all the 60s music. So, it's really cool. So, yeah, that's right. I've been avoiding getting to the Brutalist.
Okay.
There's a method to this madness, and the madness for the Studio A24 is, okay, we're gonna get the buzz out about this. We're gonna get the awards people looking at this movie early, and they're gonna fall in love with it. And then when it gets nominated for 10 Oscars, which it did yesterday, then we're gonna open it wide, which is why I'm actually talking about it today. I think I've mentioned this before, but the movie with an intermission, 3 hours and 35 minutes.
Oh, too long. Too long,
The
Tim.
brutal.
No.
Brutal runtime. Yeah, baby. It's just, you know what? And here's the thing. Adrien Brody is a brilliant actor.
Yep, I agree.
He really have you interviewed him before?
Long time ago. He's a very pleasant person, I will tell you.
Really good guy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
no question about it.
And that's what I love about it. He's no pretense about the guy. And the funny thing was, I interviewed him for this really crappy movie he did with Chris Evans and somebody else on Apple TV. I mean, it's just a horrible movie, and it's like, it's one of those deals where, okay, we know this is crap, but we're going to kind of just talk about it for a couple minutes and then talk about other things. I will not say that's the case with The Brutalist. I just think that what is the point of these long movies? I don't get it. I mean, yes, you've got the Godfather trilogy. Yes, Killers of the Flower Moon. I thought it was great. It's a long movie, but it's a great movie. And this is a movie, it's all rooted in tragedy. It's considered a historical tale, although it's a fictionalized character. Laszlo Toth, he's a Hungarian Jewish emigrant from Hungary. I said Hungary. I said that already, didn't I? Yes. Yeah, it's post-World War II. It's 1947. He emigrates to the United States, and he lost everything. His wife is still there. He eventually comes over. She's played by Felicity Jones, and he meets this mysterious, wealthy industrialist who changes his way for the better and then changes his way very tragically, changes his life. And then the guy has to deal with this tragedy. I don't want to get too much into it other than the guy is a brutalist architect. I did not know what the title of The Brutalist meant until I looked it up. Or when you watch the movie, there's an architecture, a style of architecture called brutalism.
I didn't know that.
It's minimalist architecture. It's got a very striking look. Like Frank Lloyd Wright, probably the only architect I know of or know anything about. There's just something distinct about his architecture. And that's the case with this guy. So it's about his life and trying to fit in America. And he finds that it's not easy. I mean, a lot of the emigres or immigrants or whatever you want to call the folks, I mean, look at the Irish. They weren't exactly welcome either, were they? So, you know, a lot of immigrants aren't welcome. Let's just be honest out there. So it's about that struggle as well. I don't know. The acting is brilliant. I do not disagree that Adrien Brody should have been nominated. He totally deserves it. Probably a win. Guy Pearce is the industrialist.
Very good.
Nominated. Felicity Jones, Laszlo's wife, is nominated. But again, it's this whole paint dry thing that I don't get. Let's watch paint dry for, 3.5 hours.
Right.
It's just too long. So the movie it's stuck with me though. It stuck with me and I don't get it, but it did. So there must be something there. Maybe it's just because of this guy's tragic story. I don't know. So I'm hard pressed. I'm going to say it's 7 out of 10 on the Lamma-meter. I mean, it's expertly done and all that sort of stuff, but this overindulgence with filmmakers, it's just, I don't get it.
Yeah, I understand that. It's funny, you were talking about architecture and all that stuff a bit earlier. And I remember the first time I saw a Frank Lloyd Wright house. Mm-hmm. And I don't know when he all started, but they were building this house. And I swear to God, I asked the neighbors there, are they putting a 7-Eleven in next to your house? Because they were like all flat roofs and it looked like a 7-Eleven.
Yeah, it's a really interesting look. And I mean, I would suggest people look up a Frank Lloyd Wright house if we're talking about it. And look up Brutalist architecture for that matter. But it also begs the question, is anybody outside of architects going to find this interesting? I mean, yeah, it's a compelling story, but the whole idea of this grand plan he has for this industrialist, it just goes on and on and on,
Mm-hmm.
building this magnificent looking building, is that, I don't know. Maybe, again, this is the time of year where all the smart Hollywood people tell us how dumb we are. And this is the way we need to view culture. And these are the sorts of movies you need to watch. And I've said it, I'll say it every year. It's the one time a year where art triumphs over commerce in Hollywood. They all care about the art one day a year, or two, because they hand out the awards.
Right.
And the next day it's like, how much money can we make on this picture? Where's the next big blockbuster? What sequel are we going to make next? So I have a love-hate relationship with the Academy Awards. I think it's a good thing when you can expose great work, smaller independent films, to the masses. For example, it's a smaller independent film, but it's gotten quite a bit of buzz because of Demi Moore's big comeback. But The Substance is a great movie, and thankfully, because of this being nominated for director, picture, Demi Moore was nominated, more people are going to see it. Now, it's a horror movie, and it's really gory, and it's kind of like a departure for the Academy to nominate a film like that. But that's one of the good things that comes out of the Oscars. But then they honor these movies where it's like, what percentage of the actual population is going to see this thing?
Right. Yeah.
We're just going to tell you that we know culture better than you do.
Oh, God. Depends on the culture.
Yeah. F that. Anyway, people are probably wondering, big surprises and snubs. Have you seen Gladiator 2 yet? Anybody? Tevin, AJ, you seen Gladiator 2?
I have not, but it's on my list because it's now on, I believe, Prime.
Yeah.
No, Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus. There we go. Thank you.
Yes. The biggest head scratcher is, where the hell was Denzel Washington's name?
Where was he? What?
Denzel Washington was in Gladiator 2.
Oh, okay.
He was not nominated. And it's like, what the hell? I'm beginning to think he makes it look so easy that people are jealous. They're jealous of him or something. I don't know how you bypass a performance like that. But easily one of the best performances all year. And nope, sorry. So to me, that's the biggest snub, as it were, with the Academy Awards yesterday.
Tim, did you think it was a big surprise that a film like Amelia Perez, which it feels like has divided critics and audiences, to get 13, one shy of the all-time record for most Oscar nominations, along with like Titanic and a few other films.
Yeah, no, not even close. Not even close. Okay, so that movie, it's an interesting premise, I will say. It's about this cartel boss who fakes his death and then goes through gender reassignment surgery because he always wanted that. And then she goes on to live her life in hiding. It's a really good story.
Okay.
But here's the thing that messes it up. They turn it into a musical. And it's like, what the hell? Now, I watch a lot of movies with my oldest daughter, and you know, yes, we're very open-minded when it comes to, you know, we both love musicals.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, when they start singing and then sing, it's like, okay, what the hell's going on here? You know? I mean, so again, it's just one of these things where we're going to tell you how much smarter we are than you. And this is the stuff you should be watching. And again, it's a half movie to me. If they would have gone without the music, it's like, wow, I like this movie.
Okay.
But then when you throw the music in there, it's just kind of like totally throws it into a bizarre existence that I just can't quite shake. It's a bizarre movie. So yeah, but again, I love the premise of it. And there's a lot more to it. And it would have been nominated for 14 had they not snubbed Selena Gomez, who I think is really, really terrific in the movie, and she did not get nominated. But Zoe Saldana is nominated, and I think part of the problem is they were running in the same category, so Zoe got all the votes. I think that's what probably happened. When in fact Zoe should have been nominated for a lead. It's a lead role. It's not a supporting role. And Carla Sofia Gascon, the trans performer, should have actually been nominated for supporting, because this is Zoe's movie, really. But what do I know? I'm just a dumb critic.
All right, Pally, that's going to do it. We will talk to you next week.
All righty. Have a great weekend. And quick recommendation. For whatever reason, we watched this last night. My wife did not see Ordinary Angels yet. It's been out almost a year. Alan Ritchson from Reacher is in it. Hilary Swank. Talk about a feel-great movie. It'll make you cry. Believe me, it'll make you cry. But it's about people being good.
Oh,
that's the sort of movies I embrace. You know, this is what happens when a community comes together and they're all good people. Probably a lot with, you know, what Kristen, I think, has been talking about this quite a bit. Experience it out in Los Angeles right now. You know, it's just, you know, where they have a tragic situation and they're coming together to rally. And yeah. So if you haven't seen it, it's called Ordinary Angels. Definitely see it. Alan Ritchson, Hilary Swank.
Thank you, sir. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Lammers brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryan, personal injury lawyers seeking justice for the injured. Contact Bradshaw and Bryan at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. Could you somebody call Kristen and tell her that we'll just do the show next week or whenever she can.
We'll just have her on Monday now.
23 after, for Christ's sake. I'm going, are these guys, do they know what time it is here? You pills. Kristen Bird is up next.
Why should your business bank with North American Banking Company? Here's Austin Bartz of Bartz Lawn and Landscape and Bartz Snow Sculptures.
I started banking with North American, I think, 3.5 years ago. All the people know me by name. I know them by name. It's fun to come into the bank and actually talk to somebody you know. So I made the switch, and
you guys hear me?
I'm very happy. It's the best bank I've ever been at.
So why not bank where I bank? With my friends at North American Banking Company. To learn more about North American Banking Company, go to nabankco.com. That's nabankco.com, or do what I do and stop by any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain, and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, well, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? You know, inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts, many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
I hosted my show on the radio for 40 years. Now I host the Tom Barnard Podcast, and I'll tell you, I've never seen the passion and engagement from our audience as I do now. I know we also have businesses that listen to our podcast, and it got me thinking, wouldn't it be great to help those businesses grow by telling my listeners about them? So here's the deal. If you own or handle marketing for a business, would like to have my audience buy your product or service, visit TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner, and we'll put together an ad campaign to help your business. That's TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner, and thank you for listening.
You're listening to the Tom Barnard Podcast.
All right, welcome to the noon hour. Jesus. You hear all that, Kristen?
I did.
It's like, good God, go on and on and on. It's like, what? Oh, Kitty.
She's here today.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kristen Burt, Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. You know, the greatest thing about that, the fact that that segment only ran way too long. There's this argument up on my screen between Tim and whoever. It's like, bring me on now. I'm just like, oh, God.
Yeah, it got a little spicy.
Why?
He's very particular about his entry time.
Well, I don't give a rat's ass. You know, how about that? How about if you don't have an entry time? Is that better?
No, and then Tim goes, you're like, okay, Tim, we'll see you later. And he's going, one more thing.
Oh, God. Why me? Why
I don't know.
have to be
Between
tortured?
yesterday and today, I don't know what's going on, Tom. It's just everyone is crazy.
It's going to stop as of today. I will tell you that. I just sat there going, okay, that's okay. Look, Kristen's supposed to be on by now, but don't worry about. Yeah, no, whatever.
It's okay. I was typing away. I was doing my article on my other screen.
Yeah, except for yesterday, you blamed me for being late. You pill.
Was it your fault yesterday? I think
No.
it was actually.
No,
yeah.
it was not. Liar.
I'm not a liar because you were arguing with people about Elon Musk's salute.
No, that was AJ that started that conversation, not me. So
we're
don't try to
gonna
blame
AJ
that
for
on
that.
me. He brought it up. What do you mean? I'm not blaming anybody. You started talking about politics. I'm like, oh, God, that's all I need.
Tom hates to talk politics.
I do, believe me.
No, you don't. You love it. I
hate it. I've never liked it. Even back in the day when Hamilton has said, like, we're going to need to talk more politics, I hated it for this very reason.
I'm going to say that Tevin and AJ, I know, will back me up on this. Yesterday, I kept on trying to pivot to entertainment. And who kept on diving back into politics?
It's because I wanted to strangle someone. That's a whole different story. It's a whole different story, pal.
Okay, well, I have a question for AJ because I was thinking about him last night as I was watching Traitors. Are you watching season 3?
No, this is a show that we were talking about TV shows earlier in the show, actually. I just don't with it being hockey season, like every other night I'm watching hockey essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But I have seen clips from this show. It is going to be the first thing that I watch outside of like sports now, because I saw the initial episodes, like we have a mystery person, somebody has to leave, and then it's the legendary Boston Rob. And then I've seen clips between him and who is it? Bob the drag queen, I think.
Bob the drag queen, which was amazing. Yeah. That was last
week's show looks like unbelievable television.
It is. And there's a couple of Caroline's in it, and I think it's Jeremy from Survivor too, and
Yeah.
Tony. I mean, there were a lot of people from Survivor, which made me think of you. And I'm like, this is a season that you should be watching. I don't know if you watched season 2, which was also pretty epic, but
No,
I would watch 2 and
yeah.
3.
Okay, I'll have to check them out for sure. Thank you.
Yes. And so and it's new for people who want to watch Traitors. It is a fun strategy game. So if you are someone who's into strategy and watching people kind of solve a mystery and murder people at the same time, figuratively, not literally, it is on Thursdays on Peacock. It comes out at 6 p.m. West Coast time, so Pacific time, 9 p.m. East Coast time. So for you guys, I guess that would be 8, right?
Yep.
Yep, 8 Central. So, but definitely worth. It's fun, and Alan Cumming is a genius with the way he hosts it. He's not just like coming in and just reading off a teleprompter.
Okay.
Yeah. I know Tom will be racing to go watch Traders.
What is Traders now?
It's a unscripted show, but it's a great strategy game. So if you're someone who likes mysteries, yeah, it's a game. It's a competition. And anyone who likes, to me, it's kind of like Clue brought to life, but maybe in a more sophisticated way. It's a really fun one. So, and it's fun to watch people all of a sudden play really bad strategy. Like all of a sudden you're like, why are you sabotaging yourself? People do it. People do it on Survivor. So
yeah.
People do it on this show. What are you talking about?
I know.
Jesus, Palomino.
All the time. All the time.
All
the time. Let's talk When Harry Met Sally. Did everybody see that Billy Crystal was getting back together with Meg Ryan and everyone's like, oh my gosh, they're going to do a sequel? I was like, they're not doing a sequel. I knew, because you know what's coming up in 2 weeks?
Super Bowl. It's going to be like
Bowl
or something like that.
Yeah, so they are officially doing a Hellman's mayonnaise commercial.
Oh my God.
Come on.
And there is a little clip out on YouTube. If you go to Hellman's actual YouTube channel, you will see that. And they are somehow recreating the famous orgasm scene in Katz's Deli. So, yeah, and of course you hear Meg Ryan's voice, but you don't see her yet because, of course, they're going to wait to show the commercial. But it's that big, like where she orders things and she's very particular. That one.
That's super annoying because didn't she say like we're teaming up to do something that's going to be iconic, and then it's a mayonnaise commercial?
It's a mayonnaise commercial. Of all things, I can't stand mayo. And I was writing the article and I'm like, as I was writing it up, it was so funny. I was like, there's no way that this is a sequel to When Harry Met Sally, because Nora Ephron, the genius screenwriter who wrote that, passed away in 2012. So I was like, no way that they're doing it without her. And I went and I was like, let me hunt around. And I went to one of those like Ad Age, Adweek, like one of the advertising agencies. And sure enough, a Hellman's like promo had been leaked. You just hear like 2 or 3 words that Meg Ryan says. And I'm like, it's a mayonnaise commercial. I knew it. That time of year where they like try and do like reunions on commercials to get people to watch them, but then they spill the beans before the game actually happens anyway. So we're not watching for the commercials by the time Super Bowl Sunday's here.
Yeah. Tom, have you ever done a voiceover for like a Super Bowl commercial?
No, tons of them. I was like the number 2 or 3 voiceover guy in America for about 15 years.
I know you had the McDonald's thing with the Olympics, and then that kind of got pushed to the side, unfortunately, but I didn't know if you did any Super Bowl stuff.
Yeah, I did a bunch of Super Bowls. I did a lot of voiceover and stuff. And then, of course, you know, people decided that I was from Minnesota, so therefore I shouldn't. But it was actually your town there, Kristen. It was the voiceover people in Los Angeles that went after me. Don LaFontaine was great. He was from northern Minnesota. Did you know that?
He also flew in like you did too?
No. He was from.
It was from there. Okay.
Minnesota,
I was like, he was the one. There was a 2020 like segment on him years ago. Barbara Walters did it. And I remember being a kid and going, oh my gosh, he like drives in a limo all day, like a big stretch limo back when they were super in vogue. And they would drive him from studio to studio all day long. And that's all he would do. In a world.
Yeah, exactly. I like doing all that stuff, movie trailers, and all that. But no, they decided that because I wasn't from Los Angeles, that I shouldn't. Because I think it was Don LaFontaine that went from Minnesota to L.A., took over the voiceover business. So they thought I would be the next guy to come in, and they didn't want to do that. It's got to be us. Actors are some of the biggest pains in the ass in the world, let's be honest.
They're all the ones doing the voiceover jobs now anyway.
It's what I'm saying. They threw everybody under the bus. Now they're doing it, and they're terrible at it.
Will Arnett's probably one of the biggest voiceover actors right now. He does a ton. And just to call back to the Super Bowl commercials, I don't know if people know this, but actors get a bump SAG-AFTRA union has a specific contract for the Super Bowl because sometimes the commercials only air once and that's it, and you don't really see them again. So you get like an extra bonus for it being a Super Bowl commercial. Just thought everyone should know that. Little inside baseball.
Do you think that's why they've started doing it where it's like you see the ads the week or two leading up to it so that maybe they can get out of that that bump in pay? Or do you think that's just more usage?
I think that they're still required because it's for Super Bowl specifically, that they still have to pay the Super Bowl bump. But I think that people try and get ahead of the Super Bowl headlines. They want to capture everyone's attention, or they'll do teasers and be like, stay tuned for the big commercial, or they'll just release the commercial because everyone wants to go viral. That's the one thing. And if you've ever been in a situation like sitting at a corporate meeting, they're like, we want this video to go viral. You can't make a video go viral. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like any executive who tells you they want their video to go viral, it's going to fail miserably. It has to be something organic. It has to be something that fans will latch onto. And now I would say you have to do some type of creative TikTok teaser if you do want to go viral at this point.
There you have it. You just gave me some horrible memories. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. I'm here for all of your childhood trauma, adulthood trauma.
No, it was voiceover trauma. I worked for Capitol Records at the time, many, many years ago, and Capitol Records had a convention in Palm Springs. So I flew from Minneapolis to Los Angeles and then went out to Palm Springs. Well, I got a call from, McDonald's. Sorry, they said, and this was back in the day before all, we could do what we're doing now. You had to go into studio to cut everything. You don't have to do that anymore, but in those days you did. So I got a call that McDonald's needed me to recut a lot of commercials for the, Olympics or whatever it was. And so I said, yeah, it's not that big a deal. I'm, very, very close to Los Angeles and all the rest of it. So my agent reached out, and the Los Angeles recording studios all said, no, he can't. He doesn't live here, so he can't work here. I had to go from Palm Springs to Los Angeles, fly back to Minneapolis, cut all these commercials, get back on a plane, fly to Los Angeles, and drive out to Palm Springs because of political bullshit in L.A. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that wouldn't happen now. It's so different. It wouldn't happen now. Because now you can record it in your closet anyway. So
exactly, that's exactly right. No, but look, I'm very grateful about that. I had a magnificent voiceover career, and it was one of those situations, like always, if you get too successful, people will come after you. They just will. That's how people are.
Yeah, I think it's the fandom now that goes after you. I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm talking about celebrities in general. Mm-hmm. It used to be where maybe Hollywood itself was cutthroat. Now I think that the fans are harder on celebrities and Hollywood is harder on celebrities, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Is that because of social media?
For sure.
Yeah.
Tevin, did you have-
Well, I was because I saw a headline where like Kim Kardashian posted something about I think Melania Trump, and like she lost 150,000 followers on Instagram. So yeah, nowadays people are starting to hold celebrities a little bit more accountable for whether it's politics or, whatever environmental issues and things like that.
Yeah. And to Tevin's point, Kim, again, on the day of the wildfires breaking out, like when we knew that this was an emergency, not like, hey, there's a small fire in the Palisades, Kim was launching her new Skims line. And you're just like, this is just not the day to do it. Anyone who had a marketing launch, they pulled back on it. You just wait. I had to write, we had an exclusive clip for Chrissy Teigen has a new podcast coming out. She's postponed it like 3 times and we've had to just hold on it, but I understand why. It just doesn't feel like the right time to just be like, hey, look what I have going on. And that's where the Kardashians oftentimes fall short. They don't read the room. They think that they're invincible in terms of public, just in what's happening in general in the public landscape. And those days are over for them. They don't get a pass any longer.
Well, I suppose that is true. Any good news coming out of LA? Is it all bad news?
Well, I will say that I think this is kind of interesting. There's been a major call coming out of these wildfires for the studios to really bring production back here to also help really invigorate the economy. And we have Vin Diesel and Jordana Brewster saying we still have a section left of the latest Fast and Furious to finish. I think we need to bring it back to LA, which would be good. What are you laughing at, AJ?
They're making another one.
Well, I just saw that his Instagram post was like, it was heartfelt, but at the end of the day, my takeaway was like, I just really want to make another Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah, like can we just be done with these?
Like Vin, like where you've gone to space, sir? Now we're gonna get back to LA. Like I'm happy for the production money and stuff, but like you just want to make another movie.
Of course, because what else is he working on, right? I mean, that is true. But there is a major call, and it is been even from on the crew side too, just saying like, hey, we've been through enough between pandemic strikes and now this. We really need to get people working. Otherwise, everyone's moving out of town. They'll all go elsewhere, and that is a huge chunk of our economy. And if we really legitimately want to rebuild Altadena, Pacific Palisades, parts of Malibu, it's got to happen.
Magnificent. So what do you got planned for the weekend, sister?
I'm going to hang out with friends tomorrow. Because we had more fires this week. I don't know if they're getting the same publicity that they did a few weeks ago, but we had an evacuation warning 2 nights ago here. So I was like at midnight, and you're like, oh, I can't. Worked my last nerve, but they got containment very quickly. So we didn't have to evacuate, but we are hoping for rain on Sunday and Monday, which will be a big boost to not only the environment, but also to our morale here in Los Angeles. We need some rain.
What's it like with supplies around there? Because I know you've already had to get your emergency kits. I'm sure other people do too, but like grocery stores, are those still like relatively well stocked with like water and toilet paper and all those goods, or is it like normal, or is it less?
It's like normal, which is good. That's been good. But if you're trying to find things that are important, masks right now are very hard to come by. Although our local libraries are handing them out for free, which is great because the air quality is terrible. You can't go outside for a run right now. Also, air purifiers. If you're trying to order an air purifier, it's taking a couple of weeks. A lot of people had them already in their house from the COVID, years, but you really don't want to be you're just letting your apartment, house, condo, whatever, just sit as is, because you don't know what's seeping into your house. And bottled water, I think that's the other issue. Some areas they're completely contaminated and you cannot drink the water or even shower in it right now.
Jeez.
Not good news. All right, we'll try to have a good weekend anyway.
Well, yeah, I'm going to enjoy the rain, and I'm going to hang out with friends and do fun things. And hopefully we will be soaked by Monday.
One could only hope. Thanks a lot.
All right. Have a good weekend.
You too. Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. That is going to do it. We will talk to you on Monday.
Yeah. Have a good weekend, everybody.